Hey, thanks for joining us for this post-game discussion of 88s at Zon. Our first discussion is with Launcelot, the spectator of the game, and giving his insight, his views, his thoughts of what was happening as a spectator, not as a player, but as a spectator. And then soon after that, I'll be discussing the game with Villus. Villus had to leave, and so that's why the conversations are split. Otherwise, of course, they'd be combined. But both had great things to say, and I hope you enjoy the video. Throw a like, subscribe, support us on Patreon, the whole 9 yards, and hopefully you'll get something out of the scenario. It's great. Yeah, moving the guy in J2 is real good, real key. Because as soon as he moved K3 and he couldn't get smoke, he couldn't move him off. So, but J2 really stopped all my fire from going that direction. So I had one shot. Everyone else was one shot.
Yep.
So, oh my goodness. So holy smokes.
He had the miraculous rally of the 9-2 leader, but
yeah.
In fact, he couldn't do anything with fire once he had it.
Right, exactly. That was the best thing about, because I had to DM him the last turn, so he couldn't rally on my turn. I had to DM him and make him route back, and then he can only rally with DM'd on his turn. 5's a good roll. It's a good solid roll. And once he's rallied, those other guys are almost guaranteed. At -2 with that 8 morale, and that's just crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, me moving my 4 guys over on the right hand side, and then him moving that guy on P8. It's like I looked over there. It's like, oh shit, he's like can fire 12 -1, 2 on the hill everywhere. So all those guys were just essentially couldn't get back in the village. And then Stu and the 237 just got disintegrated. They just disintegrated on that left hand side.
Yeah.
Man, 88s, that's just talk about it. Now I'll tell you what, I mean, if any game's going to show you how to fire guns, holy crap, this thing is just boom, 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 boom.
Yep.
You know, the 88s literally won the game for me here. And, you know, a little bit at the end, but the 88s is just crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, that one in M1 was...
Oh, spin, boom, spin, boom.
Yeah, he was amazing.
God.
You get the Iron Cross.
Yeah, I was concerned about the guy on I4 because, you know, if he can avoid him. You can, once that gun shows up, he can avoid him by simply going down below. But once he goes down below, then he becomes kind of like pigeon, you know, kind of pigeonhole down there. He has to go like one way.
Yep.
So that was the I just wanted to use that 88, like I popped him in early to break those guys, and just if you wanted to put like a fire group like on K8 or something, then my 88's shooting it. If you want to put a fire group with Villus or Pavilons on 09 P9, my 88's shooting at him, so he can't stay there all day. And so, and it stopped him from moving over to I5 as well, because my 88 was I could just train on him. And with the 16 chart, you don't want to mess around with that 16 chart. Holy smokes, that was crazy.
Yeah.
That was absolutely crazy. Every single dude was moving.
Yeah. Those last turn rushes, you just never know. It's all on the dice.
Yeah, and I hadn't actually...
Although,
yeah, go ahead.
He did play it well.
Yeah.
You know, with his movement, for what he had, I thought he played it very well.
Yeah. Damn. He was going to jump my... luckily I got a K on his guy in 01, and he was going to jump my guy in close combat, but it really didn't matter because the other guy shot him the next turn anyway and casually reduced him. So the but that was that. So it was kind of a wash there. But the crew on the top, he didn't end up doing anything by moving, but that's one less hex that he could just run out of.
Yep. No, that I wondered when you moved him. I thought, you know. Yeah. I'm assuming in starter kit you could still manhandle guns, but that's a big gun. You're going to need. I don't think a crew alone could do it.
Right. You could push the quick setup guns, but not these. These are the big boys. And the M4, you're never gonna move that in a regular ASL scenario anyway. That's just not gonna happen. It's almost impossible. So yeah, I'm not sure. I've never seen this one replayed at all. So it's I'm sure a lot of guys will put an AA gun in H1 and just essentially like quote cover the road. But if the American gets in those buildings in G4 and H3 with 2 or 3 squads, you're not going to survive. And he just assault moves and smokes and things like that. Once he gets smoke on you, it's kind of pretty much over. But yeah, it was something else. I thought this was going to be a rout because the first game we played, it was a rout. I mean, he just destroyed my guys like the first, second turn. It was over. Literally, the other game was over on the second turn because my guys just couldn't make morale checks. And it was funny. It was in one of those situations where he fired like 3 or 4 guys on me. I made a move in the open. I said, "Oh shit, I'm in the open." He shoots everything at him, and then he shoots like a half squad Italian through smoke, and then he pins the guy or breaks the guy like in the open. It was really weird. It's like the last shot that he could do. It's the exact same board too, so I got annihilated on this board in another scenario we played. But I did a pre-setup analysis on this one, and then he popped this one open. The reason why I couldn't do LOS on this one because I think he loaded in and I synced with him. Now if he synced with me, he could backwards sync, then we both can have LOS. But my LOS lines were off, and I thought I eyeballed some of these, and there's a couple LOSs that I missed or were blocked, and it was really kind of odd because their SK boards are so porous, you can just see between everything half the time. So it was crazy. It was crazy. So yeah, I'll discuss this with him later. He has to go, and it's late for me because he's in I think he's in Sweden. So it's lunchtime for him, and it's 3 o'clock in the morning for me. And
5 o'clock in the morning for me.
Oh yeah, so you're wow, you're like what, Chicago or something?
Minnesota.
Minnesota, yeah, okay, just a little bit north. Very cool. So, but yeah, it was just absolutely crazy game. Once I don't know. A lot of times I try to force things. Like I wanted to move J3 to K4 just to move closer, but literally, I mean, all he had to do is just shoot me with one guy, and that means I would lose like 2 shots. And so it's like, I'll just keep him there at least to get 1 shot. 4-2 is huge. So I say, I don't want to usually move him. And
no, he was critical where he was. He really made a difference.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Now one residual firepower. I mean, don't knock it. You get that -2 in the open. The pin is what kills him. He didn't even need to break. The pin is so disastrous, especially in a moving scenario.
Yeah. Well, when you're down to the end like this, and again, your strategy of blocking off his exit hexes to funnel them to just K1, that made a big difference. He could have tried to overrun your Frank had he been able to. I'm assuming starter kit has infantry overrun.
Nope.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Starter kit, you can really sleaze the exit locations. That's why they probably do like 8 hexes, 6, 7 hexes here. If I have enough forces, if I played it quote slightly properly, I could literally, like let's say I had my guys in the K5 buildings in the K5 M4 sort of setup, and he breaks these guys. All I really have to do is low crawl back, and low crawl back, and low crawl back, and like one wall of units, and essentially he has to move up and shoot and break them again, shoot and break them again. But if he's doing that, he has to do it in the defensive fire phase. And so as long as if I could just route back, and because that's why I routed the guy, low crawled him K1, I wanted him to stay in K1. That way he'd have to move through J0, and then it's way over by then. But he had a route again, which left K1 open. So yeah, it's just, you can really put a wall of units up, and because there's no bypass, it's
no bypass as well.
Yeah, there's a lot they leave out, and which really leaves it very, very difficult for. I mean, you could do this in a normal ASL game, of course, but I mean, I blocked a couple of hexes, but the 228 essentially, I just brought 2 firepower on the K1. That just I essentially only left him one hex he could exit.
Well, but you knew he was going to have to be running, so you're going to get the -2 on him.
Yeah, he had to. I mean, if he made that guy to K2, because he went 1, 2, 3, and he'd probably just smoke at his own hex. But that means I'd only have one shot at K1, and with a 9-2 leader, well, he'd have to get that whole stack off. But he had a couple stacks, so it's rough, you know. 7 morale units, 8 morale units. I think he would have gotten off quite easily. 8 morale, a lot of times they just shrug that stuff off, you know. But the 7 morale, we're all equivalent. Man, my guys were just disintegrating. The whole left flank, there was nothing on the left side of the board by turn 2. There was nothing there.
Yeah.
And it was crazy.
So have you ever played this before, where they've come down on the right side?
I've never played this scenario before.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
I'm just curious.
oh, you mean on the right side? And this, yeah, this. Were you here in the beginning? I think.
Yeah, I was here when you were just starting.
Right. So I think what an option they might be, because the entries are turn 1 or later, or turn 2 or later, right? And he has tons of leaders. So I told him, and once he moved most of his units off to the left hand side, and just funneled through the city, which, you know, it was wide open for him, so it was a no-brainer. That I actually, back reflecting on it, if he could push units to the right, so if he took all those units that he took to the left, kept them on the right hand side, and pressured me on that side, it'd be a completely different game. Of course, that is as is most of the case. But I was thinking, I told him, I said, you know, bring the guys, because you got like 7 or 8 squads on turn 2. So he could hammer those guys into the village, you know, bust up them some things. And if he puts a lot of pressure on, I had 3 squads up on the hill. And if I have to swing those guys around and bring them into the village on the left-hand side, he could then bring guys on turn 2 or turn 3 and just double time, and they're off. You know, that's 8, 16, 22 movement factors just by 1 leader and 3 squads. And so it'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, advance. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, advance. You could get off in 2 turns.
Yeah.
So he could bring, once if the Americans commit, or if the Germans commit to the left side, and you just leave those guys hanging, you can't leave them hanging too long, because then he knows what you're going to do. You know, at that point, you just move a German squad like up to G10 and just do point blank shot. Matter of fact, that's probably what you have to do anyway. You just cover his entry hex, so it's point blank -2 shots and things like that. True. But yeah, he can get him off if the German vacates that side completely, which he can't. Then he could just 2 turns. But like I said, I've never seen anybody play this. I don't know where they put their 88s. When I looked at it, I usually put my guns in wrong spots. I don't want to put them in buildings, because the modifiers to changing covered arc is garbage.
Yep.
And
especially with a turreted gun like that.
Right, and you got +2 and you know, in place anyway. And so, you know, you gotta roll the dice, and they're just there for offensive or defensive purposes. You just blast. You've got to blast as much stuff as possible, because his firepower will just take them out. Either smoke so you can't hit anything, or just get within a certain range and just take them out. Bazookas in this game, bazookas are pretty much useless in this game. I don't even know if they have white phosphorus in the bazookas. I don't know. Maybe they do.
Okay.
No, they don't even have white phosphorus on them. So, yeah, the bazookas, because everyone's gonna be in stone buildings, it's gonna be almost impossible to hit anybody. So, but it's a free shot, you know. It's a free shot. But man, those guns were just pop. That guy on the bottom, Boom 2, he probably got 8 shots in the game and killed like 3 or 4 people and broke some other guys. You know.
Yep, he was key. He was absolutely key.
Oh my goodness, that's amazing. That's an amazing game. This is why we play the game, for crazy shit like this.
Yep.
This is why we.
It just goes to show the best strategy. If you don't get the dice rolls,
right,
it can change everything.
Right. Right.
And it swung back and forth, because you both were getting some bad rolls and some good rolls.
Yeah, he hit all of his smokes like in the first 2 turns. And then when he really needed the smoke later to make a real key move, 5s and 6s. Like that guy on H3, G4 6. It's like you're done. You can't even like you're just done. I mean, it's just amazing. And then I got a critical. I just oh my god, blasted that guy, and they both just disintegrated. And I usually don't see that, and especially in stone buildings and things like that. It's amazing, just amazing. Sometimes the way the rules go, and I like I say, I thought this game was gone at turn 1, but it's a short enough game. It's like, yeah, we'll just play it through whatever, and then go with that. But yeah, I was completely demoralized early. It's like, holy smokes, I made some key errors early, and actually, to be honest with you, since I made those errors early, I couldn't pull those guys back, and so I could only bring them around that one side. So Pavel, one broken dude is all it takes.
Yeah.
But wow,
that was a very impressive game.
Wow. So that's just crazy. All right, very cool. All right, we got some comments from what Launcelot had to say about the game. Very insightful. Happy to have him watching the game with us and just joining the chatter. We're now going to have our conversation with Villus on how he felt the game went as the American player, and we discuss either previous games we've played before or just other ASL chatter that you normally hear two players have after a game. So if you like that sort of thing, stick around, and we'll have some fun. Thanks a lot. I was really afraid of that half squad with the bazooka that got there behind me, because I didn't want to have to turn, waste another positive modifier to blow him away. And but he was just going to jump me in close combat, and it doesn't matter whether he needed to kill me or not. He would just pin down the 88, and it would be over.
Yeah, that was my hope. Yeah, well, from the beginning, I was really frustrated because I knew that you were forcing me to go the left way, and I didn't think about maybe coming in turn 2 with everything, or maybe even later and just run on the right side. So that thought didn't actually occur to me.
Okay.
But that was a good idea. Reading the notes on what the rules are, or later, I guess they write that down because there's a reason.
Right.
So, well, I was a bit frustrated about that, but I thought, hey, if I only get enough troops there, I'll probably be able to beat my way down on the left. And well, it went okay, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, right in the middle, just approximately where you said that the game is lost and we could almost stop playing. I thought, it is never that easy, almost never, at least. So let's see what happens. And right then I started to relax, I think, and I was just like, yeah, I can just rush down. And then I took a couple of completely unnecessary shots from your 88, the Boom 2.
Yeah. Yep.
And I was starting to get sloppy, and well, the result, a loss.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're right. I think because you completely devastated everyone in the village. You think, okay, it's just a matter of walking off the board now, and
more or less.
And I thought it was going to be okay. All you could do, I mean, I knew my 88s were there, but with your smoke making capabilities, and you had at least 7 squads, assault move, advance phase, smoke, and then and your firepower. I was afraid of one of your, if you just took one prep fire, and because I think you could have gotten a 12 even shot on one of my crews or something like that. It's like, that's, even with 8 morale, they're just going to be in a big world of hurt. And luckily that never happened. But they were subjected to fire, and it was kind of crazy. Yeah, about the entry. I think I was talking with Lance about that. I'm not sure if you were listening in or not, but I think what you might do is, because if the German sets up kind of a little bit more in the city versus the hill, or vice versa, or whatever you want to do, you could completely delay the turn 1 guys and just say, I'm not going to bring them on at all. The heck with this. I mean, that might allow the Germans to kind of run forward, and take up frontal positions, on that particular location. But I think that would be a dire mistake on his point, because that one guy I threw up in J7, you just broke him, and then he couldn't rally or do anything. He got annihilated for his error going. I made a lot of positional errors, and you really can't in this one. You just got to play as the Germans. Just, you know, take a couple of shots and fall back and take a couple of, you know, fire in between the openings of the buildings. You're not going to beat the Americans in the buildings. And so it was just tight. So if because the turn 2 units, there's a whole slew of them, if they come on hard and fast, and if the Germans don't set up enough units in the village, he's got to send more forces over there. And I was talking with Lance. I said, the Americans can actually get to the exit point, and at the end of the second 2 movement phases, it will take him to get to the exit point by just CXing and leader speed, you know, that sort of thing. It won't take him that far at all. So I really did not want to put my 88s like on the right side on level 0. I didn't want to put them on H1 because I don't want, essentially I'd be giving up the buildings in G4 and H3, you know, that's sort of all those buildings in that little area right there. And I didn't want to do that because that's just suicide. At that point you're too close, you're in normal range, and you'll just destroy me with your firepower. You are still Americans, and you still have, you know, heavy firepower if you occupy these buildings right here. And it doesn't matter where you set them up.
I can't see where you're pointing at.
Oh, just the H3, I3, J3, right at the end of the game, the buildings that I occupied.
Oh yeah.
You know, I didn't actually realize that those were kind of critical buildings later in the game, until my entire force on the left was destroyed. It's like, okay, the only place I can be, L2 is obviously not a good spot for me to be in. So I said, you know, J3 and I3, I'll just sit there, and you still got to kind of go cover the ground and try and get you from there. I really, you don't know how much it was for me to not move forward and not move forward. Oh, darn it, let me not move that unit in J3 forward to K4 when you still had units in the buildings in L4. I really wanted to move him forward to make you fire on me, because if you fired, you couldn't move. But then I said to myself, you know, you get one shot, and I probably won't get any shots, right? Because you'll break me. But if I don't move forward, that means you have to move past me, and I'll at least get the shot off first, and then a potential second shot. So I'll be giving up 2 shots, and you'd only have to give up 1 shot. And it's like, I don't really have that many guys to be able to do that. And so I really kind of want to sometimes be over aggressive, but in that instance, I think that really would have killed me if I'd moved to that K4 position. I think I just would have lost the game.
Not impossible.
Yeah, I noticed that you were a bit disturbed when I just kind of low crawled my unit to K1.
Yeah, that was a really good maneuver. I mean, you really blocked me.
Yeah, you said to yourself, like, oh crap, now I have to kill that unit to get him out of my way. And then at least you pushed him back a little bit more when you DM'd him. So but I didn't want to casual reduce. I don't know if I roll a 12 or something like that, try to rally him, because if you broke him again and he failed a morale check, he'd be gone. Whereas if it's a full squad, he'd still be there as a half squad. So it's like, oh no, this is getting a little bit too tight for that particular location. So that was amazing.
Well, that was very, very well played, I must say. And moving down your crew, of course, I think that would be an easy mistake for a beginner to like sit tight on the gun and just stay there because I might need to use it. But instead you ran away with it and used it as a blocking force.
Yep.
I think that was also very well played.
Thanks. Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. And right when I did that, it's like, you know, not a lot of play. They'll just want to sit at the 88 because it's my purpose is to man the 88. But then a lot of people don't realize that they're still infantry. They still have, 2 firepower, 8 morale. It's really good. And you know, you obviously weren't going to go on the hill. So, and I needed every single man on the board to be able to win the game. Every single man I had to be used to win that game, and it was just kind of crazy. And luckily he had an avenue to approach that I can get to that position without really being fired on too much by your guys. So he had a safe approach to his his final destination, and that was exciting. That was pretty exciting. I was, I'm always afraid, because you just smoke, and smoke's going all over the place. And then right I honestly was looking at something else when you move the guys from G4 to H3, and I didn't even like look at him. And then you smoked him, and then you rolled your 6. It's like, oh wait, oh shit, he's right next to me smoking me. And so that was pretty crazy. That little die rolls like that. And you ended your movement, so you couldn't like move back or advance somewhere else or perform some other action.
That was at least 3 smokes that didn't happen. That were really crucial. And the one when I tried to get to H3 and smoke you and didn't. I mean, if I could have placed smoke on pole, then I would have had. I think another thing that was a mistake was taking this path down.
Oh, with your turn 1 guys?
Yeah, well, yeah, were the ones that survived, because if I had more guys still up here, then I would have been able to take the right side of it and maybe exit them on the right side, or at least get to pole.
Right, pin him down,
yeah,
so he can't really
as
move.
I played now, I had just a cluster of guys right here.
Right.
And it was starting to get tricky just to move them because there were so many there, and yeah, I grouped them too tight and didn't leave me much room to maneuver, I think. But of course, well, die rolls, but I lost, so I need to try to analyze what could I have done differently.
Yeah, that's and that's why I put the kind of 88 kind of far in the back, at least 4 hexes away from K8. Now I8's pretty close, and that's kind of a tight spot. But I think that's why I put a decent contingent of troops over there. I initially had the 237, and it's like, he's not going to be able to really do anything, so I'll put 3 squads over there and the best leader, because I can't have you going, running havoc on the right hand side, because I've got nothing else over there. So I'll put my weak troops with the 88s on one side and a pole on that side to pin you down. And I figured if you moved in those buildings, K8, K9, I8, both of those locations are no hindrances from my 88. So it's just a +3 to hit, and I don't have to worry about the hindrances there. And hopefully and luckily, I got my 88 shots were pretty effective this game. Even into stone buildings, I think I hit you probably twice in a stone building out of like 4 shots or something like that, which is crazy. When you think about it, because +3 is just I when I fire my AFVs and you fire at my guys enemy units in stone building, I just don't hit them. I just never hit them. Just seem to be wasting my time with it. And
yeah, well, I guess there's a reason why the 88s were feared.
Oh yeah.
During
that was
it was an exciting game. I really did enjoy it, although it feels a bit. I'm still disappointed.
That's okay. Yeah.
So close. It was so close.
Well, see, I felt my disappointment early, because as soon as I had, when I moved that 1 squad over from K6 and he moved up, and I had 4 squads up on the hill, and then as soon as you moved Pavelons on to P8, it's like, oh wait. Because I put my 88 over there so he could see you at 08, 09, and P8. And I didn't realize that, well, if I see you, you can see me and all my guys out of position, and then they have to go through open ground to get back to the stone building. So they're all dead. I can't even move that direction. I just locked myself out of the village. And
I just realized, I think we've made a couple of mistakes. But didn't I move 1 troop into 09?
You moved 1 guy 09, right? But then Pavelons was in P8.
Yeah, but in that case, I should have seen your boom too.
Right, and that's what I said later. I said I didn't realize that because you started moving that way. It's like, oh yeah, boom! I should have popped it open right then. It was like a turn later, I think, is when I exposed it.
Yeah, well, I was very surprised when you shot me at 08.
Right, right.
So I probably I would have maybe. Well, I don't know, but I should have seen your gun, and I realized another thing.
You probably would have smoked it. You probably
Uh,
would have smoked 08 if anything.
yeah, something at least. Um, I'm not sure that I was able to go here with that guy. That didn't matter. But I think I should have been stuck there because I was trying to throw smoke. We started the discussion about if I could move and how I burnt my movement factors or not.
Okay.
1,
Did
2,
you?
3, 4. Yeah, I don't think that I would be able to move
Oh,
because I didn't want to smoke a K3. I wanted to
smoke
hex?
K2. Yeah. Okay.
No, I wanted to smoke J2 because then I would have blocked pole and
Oh, interesting.
J3. So I think that was a bit of a cheating as well.
You know, I didn't even notice that, to be honest. See, I thought you had a movement factor left, but for some reason I figured, you know, K3 would still be an okay spot because I think you had a couple other squads to move. I think you had the 9-1 and L4, and see, that's in my mind when you said smoke, because I'm not sure if you said K2 or not, but
I don't think I can't remember.
Yeah,
And,
I
you
just
have
figured.
the video, so I don't know. I just when I looked at this later, I thought, hang on, was this really correct?
Right, right. I thought you were smoking. Well, I didn't really. I mean, either spot would be a good spot because you could smoke K3 on top of yourself, right? And then still move forward, do the maneuver that you did to counter the first fire, because that would give, was it Jackson? That would give Jackson the 2 squads that was with him. He could run over to L2 and then smoke K2. And so I figured you may have, you know, pre-layered a smoke so the other guys can get up and smoke in the future hexes too. So
that would be okay as well. But
yeah, I didn't. Now you mentioned that now. I mean, I'll review the video, but I didn't even consider that miscue. But it's yeah, things happen, you know, because you're thinking about a million things. I'm thinking about a million places where you're gonna fire.
I mean, it even says in the rule book that mistakes that are made,
yeah,
they're made. So, I mean,
otherwise, no ASL game would be
I-
finished. No ASL game would be completed if you went back and redid all your mistakes. It was really funny on my just released game I'm playing with Steve Caslow, and I remove a CX from a unit, and you know, obviously if they're CX you can't CX them, so I remove a CX from the unit, and then like 20 seconds later I didn't do anything else. We just kind of talked about one other thing, and I got distracted for some reason, and then I CX'd him right off that. And normally, like, you move CX, and then like 10 minutes later you come back to the unit and then you move him. But it was right before I was going to move him, I removed the CX. That was, and then because one of the viewers had posted a comment saying, "Hey, wasn't he CX like right before that?" And then I looked at it, it's like, "Oh, I think so." And then I watched the video. It's like, sure enough, you know, just it's like
it happens.
Yeah. So
well,
like I said, I usually anguish. Well, I like what I usually like to do with my guns is put them in a position where they're in a spot where, especially with the AFVs, where the AFVs will cruise by them and I'll shoot them from the side instead of like taking a frontal defense. I like to put them all on the flanks or sides where they don't expect them to be, even if they have a shortened, you know, covered arc to cover an area where you just catch them by surprise. But in this one, you know, you can't put them in place on the paved roads, and all the other locations are buildings pretty much. And I don't want to ever put them in the buildings because the covered arc modifiers are just ridiculous. And I don't think you can't even set these up in the building anyway because they're large AA guns.
Yeah, but it's the same in the woods.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. That's why I say, you know, yeah, you can't put them in the woods either because the exact same thing, and that's again too far back. So so essentially by default the only other spots were on the hill and in the open ground, and that's just in the back and on the hill. And I haven't seen. Have you seen anybody play this scenario or read any after action reports? I just don't know where they set their guns up at. And
yeah, well, I don't know. I've played it once against Brosef, but I was German, and that was like my game at all. So he treated me around. It was, oh my god, it was beautiful, sort of painful but beautiful. But I set my gun up, one gun up there,
Okay.
and that was a good position. So because I could see the road
Oh,
down here,
right.
so I had a pretty good view of some of the approaches, and I could cover the whole, like,
Yeah,
the
to the
whole
right-hand side.
line here. Yeah, to the right hand side.
I thought so.
So that was a good placement. But then I placed the other gun, I think, well, somewhere up here,
Right.
to cover the right side, and that was just a complete waste.
Yeah. Yeah, because you just can't cover anything on the hill. You really can't cover too much on the hill.
Yeah, so he had, like, he could run around on the hill, and he came around on the left side as well, and well, he just bunched me up in a small group up in the H3 building and I2 building, and I had nothing left, and he had like an army to march off.
Wow.
It was horrible. So I had really hoped that I could win as well as the Americans, but yeah, that was a loss.
That's okay. That's okay. Yeah,
I'm still learning the game as well.
Oh, I think you always are. I think you always are learning, regardless of how long you've playing. If you're not learning something different, something new, I just think you've. I don't know. I always like to think of different new ways. I mean, there's the basic tactics and things like that, but you know, choosing to go one way, like I said, what I usually do, I would have moved that guy to K4. That's my normal mode of operation, and I would have forced you to take a shot at him or something. But again, you could have just smoked him and ran off the board. You know, again, another sort of defensive tactic, and just different things. With every different opponent you play with, everyone has a slightly different style. They prioritize things a little bit better or a little bit differently than yourself. Like me, from my you know, the number of 12s I roll on my support weapons and the lack of rate of fire I usually get on my support weapons is just, I feel that it's kind of crazy. So if they break or get destroyed, that's okay, because I consider them sort of like free firepower, and eventually it's just going to run out. It's like, okay, whatever, I just got to make do with the squads. And same thing with the best leader. You know, I might have a 9-2 leader and lose him super early, and I just consider him free damage. You know, use him as much as possible, and hopefully you get 3 turns of worth out of him, and he'll be gone by that time, either by snipers or, you know, just by double breaking or never rallying or whatever. And I just consider those short-term assets, and just my normal squads, the guys getting the job done. Like the 7-0, like, I mean, you're gonna shoot at an 8-1 stack or a 7-0, you know, leading it. Where the 7-0 might be the guy that's preventing, you know, the LMG or the medium from cowering all the time, and he's laying down more effective fire than the 8-1. You know, so those I like to rely on my 8-0s, 7-0s, and 8-1s beyond my 9s, because my 9 morale leaders, I mean, 1 morale check and they break all the time. So it's like, okay, you know, they're gone. And
well, next game, I think I will need to sort of rethink my strategy based on you rolling box. It did not happen nearly as often that I hoped for.
It did happen once. I got one of them
once, but I mean, you just repaired it. It was.
Well, we just, somebody dropped a hammer, the little swivel of the gun kind of fell off, and they just put the bolt back on, and we're ready to go, ready to rock and roll again. So,
well, Stu, it was really a great game. Nice playing with you. I hope we can play again.
By all means, it was great, Villus. It's great playing with you as well. Thanks for joining us for this post-game discussion episode of 88s at Zon. If you like these things, throw some comments in there. Say, hey, these are really insightful. These are good. Or, I don't bother. I never watch past the first episode. So give me what your thoughts are on these sort of things. If they're useful, if they're good. Because a lot of times conversation will pick up after the game of what the players were thinking during the game, but yet not appear during the game as an active viewer. So I try to incorporate those. So give us your thoughts, and we'll see you in the next one.